consideration the fact that most of these children sent to the boarding school or to the private school, when they come back and tell you, mama or daddy, the kind of concept that they cook in school, like one of my kids said one day, was as if they could separate the beans from the corn and the water, and they call that concept. Do we not also see that it is advantageous for us to stay in the house with our kids, make sure they feed well, and we make sure we monitor them while giving them good education in the public. I mean, in the public school. Then um, there is another factor that people also feel that uh, teachers in the public school are just like they don't have time for anything. They do what they like. No, they are well disciplined because you see some of the teachers or some of the principals even shouting at them. I think we all here can think about one Dr. Tazi who used to shout at teachers. We saw it. So teachers were even afraid of him coming late, and they even like the principals see right report against them. So they are well disciplined. I don't feel that the fact that I strongly say no. The fact that they are in public school doesn't just mean that they have their I mean they have the whole time to do what they like. So I still strongly say that um, we should not our parents should not think that uh, unless they send their kids to uh, private school, they cannot succeed in their educational career. Again, we are even talking of another point here that children in private school are more athletic, or they became too more athletic. They can even speak well in the public compared to our kids. Have we understood the fact that most of these children go playing because they even lack what to do? They even lack what to do. That's why they should go playing. Our kids with us, before you go to school, leaving your house, going to school, you only know that when you come back, you have to do your assignment. You have to assist in washing pans. You have to assist in cleaning places or washing clothes, and it keeps you more active than even when you were trying to exercise yourself and saying you were doing sport. What would sport pay you? But this basic home training is also part of education. We have even seen some children when they live abroad, they call back home, Mama, how do they prepare this? Because they left from some of those private schools and migrated such that they did never had time that their parents could train them on basic skills of life. I wonder the kind of food that sometimes some of them even would even prepare in their marital homes, though there is a small question mark. So I raise my case for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Njinken, for those wonderful and powerful points. So I will give the opportunity now to the affirmative side to conclude in 2 minutes. Madam Betanga, you have 2 minutes to give your conclusion.
Thank you. Well, a teacher can only come to a private sector to teach for part-time because he knows that he's not satisfied with what he has in the public sector, aside monies. That you are sure, because they put in more there. Feeding in a private school. Private schools does not necessarily mean boarding schools. He should know that. You might be in a private school, it's still a day school. You go in and you come back home. So it does not necessarily mean that you must be a boarding student. So that feeding will still cover both if you are a day student. At the same time, private schools, if you are boarding, fine. The feeding has never killed any student and you will not start with yours. Home training in a boarding school will help them to manage. We think that it's only in the home that we can train children. No, they do all aspects of their life. They train everything, they manage time. They know that at this time I am supposed to be doing this, at this second I'm supposed to be doing this, and they do it, whether you want it or not. With the day students, you can, I'm tired, let me just rest and move on, and life goes on. Which is not the case with the boarding institutions. So I want to still strongly say, sending your child to the private school is always the best. Do not wait and come at the end and say, had I known. It's a good decision, and if you take such a decision, you will never regret it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Ambusia, for those concluding remarks. Okay, I'll give the opportunity still to the opposing side to conclude in 2 minutes. Mr. Njinke.
Okay. Yeah, conclusively, I would say we cannot undermine some other factors which our friends have advanced, but that notwithstanding, I strongly still stand in support of the fact that many of our kids are succeeding today or are successful today because of the training they got from their parents and in the school. 48% of teachers in the day school have master degree as opposed to 86. 16% of teachers less than 4 years of experience in private school as opposed to 11%. 25 students per class in a day school help them to better communicate and deal with, have a lot to do with the society. They work together, go to school, and have a lot of things to do. Some private schools are also day schools, but that notwithstanding, they still pay higher school fees there. We are all living examples. I think Gaza 8990 is sprouting today because we all attended day school. I raise my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njinke, for that wonderful conclusion. Now we are going to listen to the comment of the judges. I'm going to begin with the Chief Judge. Mr. Akafu, how did you find the debate?
So interesting. Thank you so much for giving me the floor once more. The debate has been so interesting, even though we had some minor issues at the beginning, but the two debaters, they have done excellent job, and I want to appreciate their critical thinking skills. They were all able to counteract ideas or argument from both sides. I think they have done excellent job. That is what I have seen. That's my remark.
Thank you so much, our Chief Judge. Now I'll give the opportunity to Madam Foji to air her comments.
Thanks, Madam the Moderator, for giving me this opportunity to talk as one of the judges. I will equally thank the debaters for job well done. Then I will thank the audience for being present here today for this important topic. However, I will say that this topic is an educative one. And we have to understand that sending our children to public or to private school accounts just for 20% of their successes. The remaining 80% of the successes is being determined by the children themselves and the parents, not forgetting the teachers. Both sides were able to bring out compelling arguments. Some of the points didn't have enough references. Time factor was being taken into consideration. Audibility and appearance were also noted. Education remained the key to every civil society. And I think we will surely come back here again to explore some of the elements that will lead to successes in children education. Thanks and stay blessed.
Thank you so much, Madam Foji, for that critical analysis. So I'll give the opportunity to Mr. Chofo. Mr. Chofo, how did you find the debate?
Yeah, good evening. Thank you once more for giving me the opportunity as one of the judges. As on the both sides, I would like to reiterate what you said, because what we just listened to this evening or this afternoon is purely an intellectual exercise and may not reflect the true viewpoints of the speakers. That said, I am very, very impressed with the arguments and the counter arguments. We regret for sure the network issues that accompanied those speaking for, and as much as possible, the low speaker had to follow up and re-argue. And that was same for the counter speaker. But I must say, it was rich, We have enriched ourselves again tonight with a lot of arguments. It's true, as Madame Foji said, we expected a lot of more references. I knew that we are talking of education. It's true, we are talking of public systems, we are talking of private systems, but some of our speakers were limited to the context of Cameroon. We had to go more global. When we talk of public schools, we are not seeing just the context of Cameroon, for example. In developed countries, they have public systems. So you're supposed to have a blend of what public systems are so that you don't focus much on our local systems here. I took note of that one. Again, we are supposed to focus on the teaching skills. You know, in education, I don't believe that if you go to a public school, if you go to a private school, you might have the same, as they call it in education, maybe they have a pedagogic approach which cuts across the two systems that we're supposed to take into consideration. I remember before there was the new pedagogic approach. I think that went both in private and public schools. I think right now most schools are using what we call the competence-based approach. So in that case, we need to articulate our points based on which of the systems, which of the schools will deliver to us. But I think our debaters did well. Some people use our illustrious examples where we studied, which is quite interesting. So personally, I am satisfied. I think we have, again, this evening demonstrated that we are a team of intellectuals and we can put forth points and against. But at the end of the day, it was tight and difficult for me to say you are the leading team. For now, I will let the lead judge to make a precision. If not, and the speakers that were there to also assess for themselves the quality of the debate we got this day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chofo. Thank you, our dear judges, for those wonderful comments. So I will now leave you to tally your scores and text them to me privately. So while you do that exercise, I am going to give the opportunity to the audience, two audience. I want two people from the audience to give me their opinion as regards the topic of discussion today. The topic is still, most parents do think that unless they send their children to private schools, they will not succeed in their educational career. Do you agree with this?